Hi everyone, Ladkor from LadkorGuitars here, and we are on the Furch guitar factory. Here is Lucas.
Hi.
Lucas, introduce yourself please. What are you doing here?
My name is Lucas. I work here as a product specialist. It means if you as a customer want to buy a guitar directly in our headquarters, there's an option. So it's like by appointment meeting, and it's completely different experience than in common music store, with plenty people playing different instruments, someone playing the flute in the corner and so on. So it's completely different experience. So I'm responsible for direct sales here in Furch Guitars.
We are here standing on the F. We really like this logo. What does it mean? I think it's like name and technique.
Okay, so let's talk about the history. Basically, the whole story begins with Furch as a musician in a bluegrass band. You know what bluegrass is? It's a musical style with instruments such as violin, banjo, mandolin, guitar, bass, and especially guitar was a weak spot in the band. So Furch decided to solve this problem by building his own guitar. However, Furch wasn't a luthier or a guitar maker, but he worked as a metal worker. And thanks to his engineering skills and mind, basically he made his first instrument. That instrument was banjo, and a few years later he made his first acoustic guitar. His friends saw this guitar, they liked it, and asked him like, hey man, where did you get that? So that's how this whole story started. And now in charge is his son, Peter Furch. So this letter means František Furch, founder of the company.
Nice. How long the company work?
Well, the first guitar was made in 1981. That's why we say the company started from this year. And today, this year it's 45 years anniversary.
Wow, this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Okay, what we will do right now, so we're standing. I really like, by the way, the building. Is it old ones? Looks like it's, I don't know, more than 100 years.
Well, again, speaking about the history, we're talking about the communist era. Very difficult time here in Czechoslovakia back in the day. So it was illegal to make money for living without permission from government. So František, actually, he was doing it undercover. And after the Velvet Revolution, which was a big thing here in Czechoslovakia, after 1989, he could officially start making business. It means he was looking bigger place, the production when the bigger, more employees were hired, and we needed bigger place. And the best option was this old mill from the 16th century, which is where we are now, and all production happens only here. So all Furch guitars are made only here, not nowhere else.
No Chinese, no Mexican?
No, only Czech Republic, Velké Němčice, where
That's
we are
cool.
located.
Do you know how old this building?
From the 16th century. Wow. So over 400 years old building. Yeah. So he was renting the place, and after 2000 he built this whole place, and now we own it.
Oh, so you're owners?
Yeah,
that's
at
cool.
This moment, yes, for a long time.
That's nice. Go. Let's go to the next.
Okay, so
room.
to the room. Okay.
Yeah, production is working right now, so you can see a lot of people here in warehouse. It's warehouse of wood, as I can see. So you have here all the blanks from the. Where are you buying them?
Yeah, you said it right. This is our warehouse, basically the room where we store and stabilize the wood. So we got the wood from our suppliers. We have 3 main suppliers from North America, India, and Spain. We got the wood here, and now it starts with process. It's called stabilization. So what we do, we simulate the seasons of the year, because in real world, or let's say perfect world, we don't have enough time to wait a couple of years, do it natural way. So what we do is speed up the process that's otherwise natural. So above you, there's a humidification system that goes through the whole factory to keep the wood in the same conditions. So at this moment, we have to humidify the material. Let's say it stays in this room, let's say a week, a couple of days. It really depends on the material. And then we have to put it in these drying chambers where we have to dry it. Again, a couple of days, a week, and it's like back and forth. This process takes a month, let's say, and the goal is to get 9% of humidity. Once it has 9% of humidity, it's ready to go to the production.
cool.
And the reason why we do this is make the guitar more durable in different conditions, such as humidity changes, temperature changes, and so on, because all our guitars are solid.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Yes.
Even the cheap one, I mean, not cheap, like 1,000.
Pioneer or Violet Series?
Yeah. It's anyway, looks like impossible to do
Yeah.
this price for a solid. But you can do that. That's cool. Can you show the type of woods we have? We usually show it for
Yeah.
our customers and subscribers.
Let's start here. So,
it's mahogany, I see.
Yeah, all our necks are made from mahogany, so it's African mahogany. What else we have here? So
It's like ebony, I believe.
ebony. We use it for fretboard, headstock plate, bridge. This is, for example, black walnut, but usually it's spruce, Sitka spruce, Adirondack spruce, alpine spruce, Engelmann spruce, and cedar, western red American cedar. So it really depends, and of course rosewood. So we have supplier in India, and it's responsible for Indian rosewood. And of course we have something it's called Rainbow Series. So you as a customer, you can configure your own guitar on our website, and there you can find very rare and very expensive and exotic materials.
Okay,
Such as,
the question I think dealers ask about it. Do you have Brazilian ones?
of course not.
It's too hard to receive them. I know about the cities.
It's almost impossible to get in Europe in legal way. But back in the day, we had a Madagascar rosewood in our offer.
Yeah.
But again, it's just the same story as, for example, for Cocobolo. It's very hard, very expensive to get. So we have to replace it for Malaysian blackwood, for example, or Honduras rosewood, and so on. So, but we can offer koa, Cinco redwood, for example, and Claro walnut, and so on. Yeah.
What else you have here? That's all the ebonies.
Yeah, this, for example, is zericote.
It's like zericot or cocobolo, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we use it for the fretboard, headstock plate, and bridge. For Red Series, you can also find it in our Rainbow Series. But in Rainbow Series, there's an option to have back and sides from zericote, which is
The Rainbow Series is the highest one.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, let's say standard series, we can talk about it in our showroom, but standard series is violet up to red, and then above all these series, the rainbow, you can configure your own guitar.
Okay, and all the wood, all the wood is one warehouse here, or you have one for a regular and something for Rainbow series in another room?
No,
Or all the same?
yeah, all happening here.
Okay.
And you should definitely take a look to our drying room. So just
I saw you have. I have one more question. I saw you have grades of the wood, like A, 2A, 3A.
Yeah.
How you can split them?
Yeah.
Okay. So
it
it's
already comes with A or AA, AAA from our supplier. So,
okay, it's not you. They
no.
are doing that.
Well, let's say we got package of AA great material. So as you can see around, our workers do it by hand, manually. They control and check every material by eye. And
Here.
yeah, and
Okay.
if they decide that, let's say, usually it's like 9% of the package, it's, let's say, in this scenario, AA, but the rest, 10%, it could be AAA. Yeah.
Can you show me that? Can you show what the difference between A or another room?
You will see it on the whole guitar, on the guitar itself. If you compare Violet series and Red series, for example, you can see the difference.
I get it. Put in the material inside the suszarnia.
Yeah, you can film it there.
The temperature like on the street right now. It's crazy. It's
But if you come here, almost
okay.
7 degrees. And as I mentioned, 10% of humidity.
Emirates. like in Dubai or so.
If you're a fan of sauna, you can stay here. But sometimes, if our visitors are, really into sauna, it's really hard to get them outside. But what we do is measure the humidity on different areas of our materials, so we can get the average value of humidity, which has to be 9%.
Нужен веничек для бани.
This is usually we make the bracing, or little braces for different parts for guitar. Now we're entering our pre-production, which means this is the place where we have to have this machinery where different parts of guitar are made, usually parts you as a guitar player cannot see what's inside. But there is also our neck production section, so now we can take a look how our necks are made.
Okay, let's go.
So first we mill the basic shape of a guitar neck. Then we glue the truss rod or the whole CNR system, I'll be talking about later. Then we glue the fretboard, the headstock plate, and the whole neck goes into that 5-axis CNC. 5-axis means it's 3 linear axis and additionally 2 rotational axis.
Like this one.
Yeah.
I know.
And now I'll show you the result. So this is the result. It already looks like a neck. It's this previous CNR system. Now we have something, it's called CNR Active system. I will show you how it works in the showroom. But for the moment, the next step is grinding the neck with that collaborative robot over there. In the collaborative robot, it works in cooperation with a human. When you touch it, it stops because of safety reason. It starts flashing when it runs out of grinding material and so on. It has its own pressure sensor to regulate the pressure applied to the neck. So the robot grinds the neck for approximately 80%, and then our workers have to do it by hand, finish the hand manually.
This is a robot hand that works.
So this is common truss rod that you use to adjust the neck relief by turning the screw to one side or the other. You can think of the neck as a bow and the strings as a bowstring. But when you put the truss rod in the neck, the tension is applied only at these two ends. And what happens between those two ends depends entirely on the wood or material. And since wood is very unpredictable and natural material, it can cause a twist or create a fretboard or the hump on the fretboard and so on. That's why we put the truss rod in a carbon pipe. And carbon is very rigid material, so it bends the neck very smoothly. And because our necks are attached to the body with 2 screws.
Now I understood that, because I read about the carbon.
Yes.
And I thought you have like part of carbon neck. Strange.
Yeah.
Now I get it. So
yeah.
It's like part of truss rod over the truss rod.
And the third part is this aluminum piece in the heel of the neck. So, I mean, this is for CNR Active. This is previous version. It works just the same, but now it's like 6 centimeters longer for the second version. And it's in the heel of the neck to hold 90 degrees angle. Because the tension of the strings applied to the neck is 72 kilograms, which is very hard for the neck to handle such a tension. That's why we have this aluminum part. And altogether, a truss rod in a carbon pipe with aluminum part, it's our CNR system, composite neck reinforcement. We have it in all our guitars since 2016, and It's our biggest invention. We patented this system, so it's our biggest invention. And now we have CNR active. It's like upgrade, level up section, and I will show you in the showroom how it works. So this is the previous system, and the second version works very differently and almost at the same time it's just very, very similar. So this is how our CNR system works, and I will tell you more in our showroom.
Wow. It sounds for me like fantastic, you know, when the guitar can automatically...
Now you can, yeah.
I can understand why it happens, because in Czech Republic you have different community. If everything changes to, like, not like in Ukraine, to be clear. I saw that, so that's one of the reason, I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay. If that CNC machine's doing the next two.
Yes. The blue CNC machine is responsible for drilling the basic shape of a guitar neck and this slot for the truss rod.
Okay.
Then we glue the truss rod, the headstock plate, the neck, and it goes to that CNC, and yeah, this is the result, and you know the rest.
Okay. What is the room? Is work with the fretboard, I believe so.
You're right. This is where we produce the fretboards. Fretboard is obviously very important in terms of playability of the instrument, so we have to focus on making it as accurate as possible. So first, we made radios on this machine. Actually, this is one of the machines František built. So you can compare modern, 21st century collaborative robots on these old machines.
He made it
by himself. Yeah.
Wow.
Because as I mentioned, he worked as a metal worker, so it was quite easy, and he had access to all those tools and instruments in his job. So first we make the radios of the fretboard, then with CNC we drill individual slots for the frets, and then we insert the frets, pressing one by one like this.
So you by hand?
Yeah, by hand. You put individual frets, and then like this one by one. But I have to mention something very interesting about our frets. It's a common fret wire. It's a nickel and then silver combination. But as the wood shrinks and works over time, the sides of the frets start to stick out eventually. You as a guitar player probably know what's going to happen. It's quite annoying. You have to sand the sides, you will damage the neck, the lacquer, the fretboard itself. That's why we solve this problem by undercutting the frets. I just borrow one of those. Yeah. So if you look at it, it's like a T shape. At the bottom part, it's called the stem. At the top part, it's called the crown. And what we did, we undercut the bottom part. And now when we put the fret here, only the top part will stick out and the bottom part stays in place, and it's sealed with acrylic putty. That way, only the crown, the top part, will get sanded. And if you're handy, you can do it by yourself at home, but for a guitar technician, it's quite, common daily, easy process. So it's like, I like to say, it's like Neil Armstrong said, it's a small step for a man, but giant leap for mankind. You know what I mean? But this is just the same. So a little feature. So you, as a guitar player, you don't know about it, and you don't have to know about it. But that's what we do. We care what happens to the guitar in, let's say, 5 years. Not just it leaves the factory and give us the money. We don't care anymore. We should care, because our goal, or let's say, our company is more innovative. We're trying to push an acoustic guitar further in terms of what's happening inside, in terms of the sound, in terms of the resonance. So yeah, that's our goal.
That's what I like, to be clear. Yeah, I heard a lot of good things, like feedbacks about Furch guitars, and you are really modern. Yes, so if you will Google something and just feedback, people usually say like it's modern type of acoustics. I asked, by the way, the manager, Jan, about are you going to make fun fret guitar? He said no. Yeah. But it's, not too many brands have fun frets on acoustic. So it's like idea.
Because CEO of the company, Peter Furch, he's a very he's really into robotics and IT and so modern technology. So our goal is, or let's say our production is like 50% of human touch and 50% of modern robotics.
Yeah.
You know, so that's our goal, to combine all these worlds together.
Have you been on the Warwick factory?
No, not yet.
They have even the big CNC machine with robots who can do all the works with frets.
Yes.
Looks crazy.
Yeah.
It costs crazy. This.
So we still do it by hand.
Yeah, it's good. The Spectre, for example, they're doing everything by hand, almost everything.
Yeah.
So it depends. Are you using different shapes of the frets or in different material, or it's like only steel?
Not shapes, but different lengths. Because if you compare, one for the first fret for different lengths, but because it saves the material. So it's a common thread wire. So what we do, we cut it for different lengths. So one belongs here. So there's no point to put this thread here because you have to cut those two sides, and extra material, it costs money.
I get it.
Okay, so
I mean like shape of the threads. It can be jumbo, extra jumbo, or just narrow.
well, it's a common thread wire. So I won't tell you from my head right now. It's a jumbo or narrow, but
No. I don't. Doesn't mean. And in every guitar you have the same shape, or the customer can choose.
Okay, no, always just the same.
Just the same.
Always
Okay, yeah, because I personally like more jumbo frets, even some more extra jumbo sometimes.
Yeah,
sometimes you can have a narrow, very narrow, and high.
There are modification. There are modification in Rainbow series as well for standards models, as let's say baritone guitars, sunburst, different nut width, and so on, profile of the neck, but not the length or the profile of the fret itself. No,
Okay.
it's just the same all the time.
Okay, but and it's all the steel, or it's like mixed.
It's a nickel and silver.
Nickel and
combination.
silver.
Yeah.
Okay, all of them.
Yes.
All okay. It's a really big production. So many people work there.
Yes.
How many people?
I would say at this moment around 65 people in the production. But the company itself has around 100 employees. You have to include Nashville, which I probably didn't mention. But we have distribution center in Nashville, Tennessee, which ships guitars to individual stores in the US. And America is the biggest market for musical instruments in the world.
Sure.
Making about, last year it was like 46% of the industry. So it's a huge opportunity for us to be there. We're actually starting to do better there. So yeah, so including Nashville employees and marketing employees and home office and so on, I would say about 100 employees we have.
But on this building, it's around 65.
In the production, I would say 65, and some office workers.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I'd say, I believe it's more than on Paul Reed Smith in the US.
Yeah, so I would say
I have to check, I don't remember, but I'd say
altogether 85 employees here in our headquarters.
Okay.
But in the production, 60 up to 65.
How many guitars you are making per year?
Well, last year it was 8,000 guitars, 8,200, something like this. And on average, we make 35 guitars per day. And we sell guitars on 5 continents. And,
Wow. That's cool. It's okay. Where is standing?
okay,
Too much questions. Sorry.
yeah. So, in this room, we have to control the humidity level very precisely, because here we make the boards front and the back. So, I just grab some braids. So, you know what book match is?
Yes.
2 halves
Fine.
together. Yeah. So we have 2 halves already glued together, sanded. The body shape is cut out on the laser, and then we have to, with another collaborative robot over there, we have to drill the sound hole and the rosette, which is decorated with different materials. You know, maybe this is great example.
Yes, yeah, balloon.
Abalone, mother of pearl. So this is very high level of decoration, but it could be, you know, wooden materials, co-op, walnut, peduk, and so on. It's just for decoration. What is more important than decoration is, of course, the bracing. And now come with me.
It's like an option, or it's depend the rainbow series or
In
red
the rainbow
one?
series, it's an option. But for standard models, it's like this is a yellow series, so it comes with a baloney.
Okay.
But in rainbow series, you can customize it. You can basically do it by yourself in your configurator, including the rosette, the whole body, and so on. Let's talk about the bracing. We use X-shaped bracing, but other manufacturers use different types of bracing. As far as I know, Taylor uses V bracing, classical guitars have fan bracing, leather bracing, and so on. So each bracing is designed for each body shape. We use X-shaped bracing, and it's very important in terms of the stability and the construction, and it helps spreading the sound across the soundboard, and especially the soundboard has a huge influence on the sound. So I would say this is the most important part of an acoustic guitar. It creates the sound, basically. But this operation is done by hand, you know, from the scratch. So my colleague, what she's doing right now, she has to glue the big X and then glue individual braces like this. And after already it's settled, you have to press this device. It's a vacuum pressed air, and after 15 minutes it's ready. So you can make 4 boards at one time. Mm-hmm. And this operation is made from the scratch. I will show you later once my colleague is about to finish his job right now. And also in this room we make the bags. So what the bag does, it reflects the sound towards the soundboard. And let's see. Yeah, for example, this one. So the back and sides are always from the same material, and usually it's 4 big braces. But let's say for smaller body shapes, it could be, you know, 3 braces. Speaking of little body shapes, I have to mention Little Jane, and Little Jane has only big X, nothing more. So because the body or the soundboard is so small, it's enough to have a big X, nothing more. I have to mention our unique voicing. This is also very important because unique voicing is unfortunately the only thing I cannot show you. It's like our know-how, but what we do, we measure the soundboard at different places, and we are able to, let's say, somehow influence the sound as much as we want to. So that's why our unique voicing for us is more important than the great material, AWA and so on, which is usually very more of a visual thing, you know. And let's say the goal why we do this, let's say we have this model, yellow, deluxe, cedar, and rosewood, Grand Auditorium. We have just the same model in 5 pieces. And the goal is, let's say, all those 5 pieces should sound very similar. It should be the sound of yellow, deluxe, cedar, and rosewood. That's why we do this unique voicing. Of course, it's a solid wood material, so every time it should be, you know, different. But the point is that if you try this guitar in New York and then you buy the guitar in Tokyo, you should realize that it's the sound will be very similar or just the same.
Yes, it's very good because when you choose like one guitar from Gibson, they sound different. And not only Gibsons, but yes, it's cool. So when people can see your guitar on YouTube, how it sounds, it will sound like on YouTube in real.
It should be. It should be.
Like 90.
It should be.
Mm-hmm.
But we do it on every soundboard, including Violet Series, our basic cheap model, or Pioneer, which is our cheap model, or Red Series. But Red Series and Rainbow Series, they have voiced the back at just as the soundboard. So we do it for every guitar, but for Red Series and Rainbow Series, we do it as well on the back. So we have the front, we have the back, now we have to make the sides. We need to get into this shape. So what we do, behind you there are tubes with hot water over 90 degrees. We put the material in there for about half an hour, then take it out, put it in this mold, depending on the body shape, for about 15 minutes. And
then make it bend.
Yeah. So it's a very common process in the furniture industry. You know, it's called plastification. So what we do, we temporarily change the properties of the wood to get the shape we want. So it's quite bendy, but if I push too hard, I break it. So it's a very simple process. Of course, I would say the biggest risk is burning material or crack material itself. That's why the process of stabilization is so important, to make sure it really has 9% of humidity.
How it can be stable after that? What help?
Because you heat individual cells in the wood. You change their structure. You change the structure of the material itself. So you can do the shape as much as you want, bend it as much as you want, because it stays in this position. Of course, then we have to glue it together. That's our next section. By the way, in this whole section, this whole department, is what we do is make the body all together.
Okay. I know only about, sometimes I heard something close to this from the luthiers. When they try to make a twist neck, and they use almost the same usually with hot water.
Yes, yeah.
It's close.
You can use hot water, or you can heat it up with hot air up to 240 degrees. However, you're risking burning the wood itself. So for us, it's much safer option. Okay, let's take a look. Yeah, to the next room. Okay, so now we have two sides we need to glue together. If you notice, this area or it's very thin, or the edge is very thin to hold it together. That's why we pick a mold depending on the body shape. There's a lot of body shapes like Grand Auditorium, Dreadnought, OM, double OM, American guitar, left-handed guitar, and so on. So we glue it together. It's about 10 minutes, maybe less. We glue it together, these two sides. For gluing together, we use these two wooden blocks. One belongs here. This holds two parts together. This is where the strap is, the cable, and so on. And this second wooden block belongs here, and that's where the neck is attached to the body. So it's all like this. Let's say 10 minutes, and it's ready to go to next section. Okay, so at this point we have to glue the front and the back. It's just the same problem as in previous section. This edge is very thin to hold it together. So that's why we use this, let's say, like inner binding. It's called, well, actually this is the only Czech wood we have in the production. It's beech, and sometimes especially Czech visitors or Slovakia visitors, because they are neighbors, ask me why, since we are a Czech company, we don't use more Czech materials. And the answer is just the same, because we live in the Czech Republic. And you cannot compare some local tree in Adirondack spruce.
Try to find something mahogany Czech.
Yeah. So that's the answer. So this is the only Czech wood we have in production. Like this, it already comes from pre-production, so you can bend it as much as you want. And even the guitar has a cutaway. You have to heat it up. Again, plastification, you have to heat it up so you can bend it to this shape. So it's very important for the stability, for the construction. And at this point, we have to glue the front and the back, and we have the body of the guitar. Ready?
So many special things, a lot of them. Like,
again, these molds, these forms are made from František era. So, okay, so this is where we do the binding. binding is a form of decoration, but it also protects the most fragile part of the body. So it's like a dumper, you know? And I consider this section one of the hardest, if not the hardest, in terms of high demands for quality, for precision, and so on. And for me, it's also a quite nice example of a combination of traditional guitar making and modern technology. So you can see through the window, there's a robot over there, and it's drilling the slots for binding. Now the robot can do it all day long without loss of quality in the same speed, same precision. But what the robot can do at the moment for us is glue individual strips of binding, and requires skilled hands of our employees, skilled hands and skilled fingers. And I don't think it will be ever automatized in the future. So that's why I say it's a nice example of traditional guitar making and modern technology. So just put it back. And here I will show you which materials you can do it. Usually it's imitation tortoise shell, imitation ivory, koa, wooden materials, paduk, walnut, maple, and so on. So all together it can be up to 10 layers of material. I mean, not above, but all together. And now
all models have bindings.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can film the whole process here. It takes months to learn just the operation, and after that I want to show you our Bevel Duo, which is deluxe model. It's a very ergonomic thing, which is this one particularly, but I want to show you in another room. So you start from the half, then you continue to the second half, and then again continue. So what my good colleague is doing right now, it's this strip is called separation. It's like a middle part of binding. So you bind the whole body, and also you bind the soundboard itself. So you can have, let's say, a baloney on the soundboard. Yeah. Cool. Yes, sanding manually, sanding by the robot.
So robot starts first, I believe.
Yeah, it's sanding the whole body. So after every operation, there's a human touch. Because what the robot can see is some error, mistakes, gradients, and so on. Okay, so this room is quite isolated because in this room we make the most expensive guitars, very rare guitar, expensive guitars, and Bevel Duo. So what Bevel Duo is? It's an ergonomic thing. So imagine a scenario: you stand on stage for 2 hours long. Your forearm, your wrist, you start to hurt your chest. It's quite annoying. So let's say it's just the same. Yeah, here it's just the same process of plastification.
Looks like it's
rosewood series. It could be rosewood, cocobolo, walnut, and just the same process for plastification. But for yellow series and lower series, we use ABS, it's a plastic material. Just the same shape but different material. By the way, I bind a simple guitar, such as Little Jane, takes about 20 minutes, let's say. One with a bevel can take up to 3 hours. So that's why the guitar with bevel is so expensive. It's like a very high level of binding.
I was surprised. You said all the guitars have a binding. That's crazy, because it's not cheap process.
Well, it is.
Some guitars don't have just.
Yeah, it's decoration, but not every guitar has Bevel Duo. You can tell it has a Bevel Duo because in the name is deluxe. One, let's say Violet Grand Auditorium, Sitka Spruce is a common model, and Violet Deluxe already a bevel is included.